So let's assume that we're happy with our fine application that we've created, and when we want to run it, we go to where the folder where it's located, and we open up a terminal and we type // and then the name of the application, and then that's our application up and running, and we can be quite happy with that. But we can do better. We could have a desktop entry for this, and that would mean it would sit on the desktop and you just double click on the icon and you'll get your application up and running. So how do we go about doing that? So the first thing we want to do is we're going to open up our text editor, and the first line of a desktop entry is square brackets with desktop entry written in it. And then we'll save that just with the rest of SimpleTimer for just now, and afterwards we're going to put a copy of this onto the desktop. So this is called SimpleTimer.desktop, so for all desktop entries they will finish in .desktop. But what are we going to put into our SimpleTimer.desktop file? Let's have a look for desktop entries for Linux. And when you search for desktop entries in Linux, you'll probably get quite a few search results. But in this case, we're going to choose the Arch Wiki, the Arch Linux documentation. And this has lots of useful information about all things pertaining to Linux, not necessarily just Arch. So for the desktop entry, we can see here the type and the name are required. So type will be application, the name is SimpleTimer. The executable, we'll have to put the exact path there, and then we can create an icon as well so it looks neater, and it's not a terminal application, so we'll put terminal equals false. So if we open up our desktop entry file, we'll start with type. So type equals, and no spaces here, application with a capital A. The name will be SimpleTimer. This is really just for ourselves. It will show underneath the icon so we know which program it's launching. Terminal, well, that's false because this is a graphical user application. So terminal equals false. Just check that. Right, yep. So it's with a lowercase f for the true or false values. Now for the executable, we're going to put in the absolute path here. So it starts /home and then /username. In this case my username is username, but you would put your own username in there. Then it's in the Prog folder, and then it's in the SimpleTimer folder in Prog. Now to run our application from the SimpleTimer folder, we enter // So we want to put the // SimpleTimer there. Now for our icon, we don't yet have an icon, so let's get one. Obviously you can create your own at this point if you prefer, but I'm just going to appropriate one from the file system. We have a whole bunch of icons in user, share, and then it's a folder called icons, funnily enough. So in the icons folder we have a whole lot of choices. Let's have a look in Yaru and go for scalable, and maybe apps. Let's see what's in apps. Okay, so we could choose any one of these. We're just going to make a copy of it. Oh, that one looks good. The one for, is it solitaire, I think. But let's put that in here in the SimpleTimer folder, and we'll call it icon.svg. icon.svg. So there's the icon that we're going to use, and let's just put the absolute path for icon there as well. So /home / your username. In my case, it's just username. And then we're in the Prog folder, we're in the SimpleTimer folder, / and then the name of the icon. So icon.svg. So we can save that now. And that's pretty much all we'll need in the desktop entry. Yep, that looks good. So we're going to copy that and we're going to place it on the desktop. And in Ubuntu specifically, we'll need to right click on this and put allow launching. And you can see that once you allow launching, the icon actually shows on the desktop properly. And if we try to double click the icon to launch the program, it's not going to work at the moment. And the reason for that is that the desktop entry is in the /home / username / desktop folder, and we're trying to run the main.qml, which isn't there in the desktop folder. So if we put the absolute path into this C++ file, instead of just trying to run main.qml, we have /home / your username / prog / SimpleTimer main.qml, and then even if we're trying to run from the desktop folder, it's going to launch that main.qml file as long as it's there where we've said it's going to be. So we are going to have to remake the binary again, because we've changed our C++ file. And with that, with using make, we now have an icon which will, when double clicked, will launch our program. So it's a slightly hacky method to do that. There are alternatives, but we'll go into them at another point. For just now, this works if you want to have your own applications being able to be launched from an icon on the desktop, and it's a nice way to have your programs running. So let's say we want to do that for myQt2. Let's copy our desktop entry, and we're going to place that in the myQt2 folder, and then rename our desktop entry. So we have a myQt2.desktop file now, and we'll need to make a few adjustments with that. So it's just, most of the things are the same. It's an application and the terminal's false. The name, it would be nicer to have myQt2 under it to let you know that's what you're trying to launch. The executable file is ./myQt2, and it's in the myQt2 folder. And the icon, well, we could copy it over, but let's just use the same icon with the same absolute path. So as long as that icon is in the Prog SimpleTimer folder, we can just point to that. Now we will have to change the main C++ file again. So instead of just the application engine running main.qml, we need to run /home / your username / prog / myQt2 / main.qml. But now with that slight adjustment, we're able to use make to recompile the binary, and then we will have a working desktop entry. So we can make a copy of our desktop entry for myQt2, and we can paste it onto the desktop, and then you right click and select allow launching. And now, instead of going to opening up a terminal and going to where the binary is located and doing // in the name of the program, we have some useful desktop entries, and they've got a type, which is application, a terminal equals false, a name, an executable, and an icon. And it's that straightforward for desktop entries. So we've taken a few shortcuts in order to keep it simple, but we now have our application icons, and with a double click we can launch the fine program that we've made.